get ourselves some fruit and some flowers, and we go to the temple really early in the morning to see the guru. And as I'm going, I'm thinking, what if he really is God? Maybe this is the guy. I came all the way to India to see the guy. Maybe this is the guy. And I'm getting in that kind of a, like, give it a chance mood. And I go in, and there's this beautiful temple to Hanuman, this great, beautiful statue of Hanuman, amazing, feeling to it. And I look at that, and I really experience some sort of feeling. And then I'm just looking around, where's the guy? And I see this man, and so I go up to him, and I pranam to him, and it's the gardener, right? And then I see another guy, and I go over there, and he's the gatekeeper guy, And he opens this little door and lets me in, and I go in. And then there in the back, he's sitting on a table in the sun, and is wrapped up in a little blanket. And there's really nobody there. There's a few people around him. And he's laughing, and he's bouncing around like, what happened? What happened? Come on, what happened? He thinks it's so funny. We all sit down, and he says, what happened to your guru? What happened? And I think, wait a minute, we didn't tell anybody about this. But then everybody, there's 5 of us, we all have 5 different answers. One person says, we don't have a guru. The other one says, guru's in jail. And he says, Krishna's born in jail, now Krishna goes back to jail. And then I think, oh shit, Baba Anandamurti is really Krishna. I better get my butt over to see him even though he's in jail. And then somebody says, and I don't know if it was Maharaji or if it was the translator, somebody said, he was a madman who deceived a lot of Americans. He used to be a railway clerk. And then Maharaji says, Americans will believe anything anybody tells them. And then he says, who's the guru? And there's a guy walking along the road with a cow. And he says, he's the guru. And I look over at him and I think, oh, he's the guru. Well, maybe I better go over there. And then he says, Americans are the guru because they put milk in cardboard boxes. And then, because they put a man on the moon. And the translator looks at me because he can see that I'm really confused now about who's the guru. He says, you see, the saint sees everyone as a saint. And at that point, I think Maharaji asked us to sing a song. Now, this was a bad move because we were professional singers. We were the singing troupe for the other yoga group, so we knew lots of songs. And we had some real star singers, Janaki among us. And I remember Govind led a song, and then Janaki led a song, and Maharaji really liked the song that she sang, Akanda Mandala. And in fact, he made her sing it at least 10 times that day for every person that came to visit. But in any case, at that point, I think he sent us away to go and sit and have a meal. And the meal was, we sat in rows, and on leaf plates, people ran up and down with buckets of food. And when we finished eating, there was a bigger pile of food on our plate than when we had started. And we were all, or at least I felt like I had never been full before, but suddenly I was actually full. And I was just happy as can be. And I did remember thinking at that time, who is that guy? Who is this guy? And how come he asked us about this? And what's he doing in my head? It was a little bit like being in a science fiction movie. Anyway, we went back to the hotel, and I remember that when we had been in Delhi, there had been discussions about the guru and how the guru would hit you on the head and put you into samadhi. And then you could tell if it was really samadhi because you could take the pulse of the person. And if they had no pulse because they were in a state of suspended animation, and how amazing that would be. And I just remember thinking about that. And the next day, I made a wrong turn. Made a wrong turn. I went into the wrong alleyway. I was trying to find some fruit to bring, and I got separated from the group. And finally, I got to the temple, and I was late. And when I got there, it looked like the show was breaking up. Um, Something had been going on, and there were a lot of people there. And where yesterday we'd been sitting right in the front, here I'm all the way in the back, and I'm sort of thinking like, oh, got this fruit for Maharaji, but I'm late. I blew it. Well, Maharaji sees me, and he makes come over, come on over here. And so I figure, oh, cool, and I come up and I give him the fruit, and I put my head on his feet, and I do the thing, and he makes me sit down, and there's a fellow sitting there who something has happened, and so the fellow puts himself into full lotus. Guru Dutt Sharma is his name. Puts himself in full lotus, and Maharaji whacks him on the head, and he looks at me and says, okay, take his pulse. Now, I still haven't gotten it yet. But you know what I left out, which was one of the most important things, when I very first sat down the first day to see him, I looked at him and I thought, oh man, the poor old man's blind. He's like this. And immediately he bugs out his eyes at me. And I feel it like in my chest, like, oh, he's not blind. He actually can see. Maybe he's got X-ray vision like Superman, So this day I come in, and in my mind is this thing about the pulse, and he immediately says, hits him on the head, says, take his pulse. And I think at that point, I actually don't know how to take anybody's pulse. I don't actually know anything about this. I don't want to blow this old man's show, what's going on here? So, Maharaji's laughing and laughing. He grabs my fingers like a Three Stooges movie, and he pokes the guy in his eyes with his fingers. He says, come on, try to wake him up. And he's sitting there, with his eyelids fluttering, and then two guys lift him up, and they carry him off, and they put him in a room, like a dark closet. And then throughout the day, Maharaji sends me over to check on him to see that he's still in this state. And I remember Maharaji looking at me and he's saying, okay, now can you do that?